friends, this is just a really quick intro to this video. So this is me doing some mending. I got the idea from Evelyn Wood you should check out her YouTube channel. You should check her out on Instagram. She's Australian and she's vintagely fabulous. So on with the video. Okay guys, today's job is Casey! Mending Monday. My son's t-shirt has split. So we're gonna do our best to stitch that up because it's got Legend of Zelda on it and that's his favorite. So, black thread on a bobbin, but you know, whatevs. I like to use a double length of thread when I'm mending because, well, it's already had a hole in it once. Let's not make it easier for it to have it again. Threading the needle. My 12-year-old informs me this is impossible. It's, you know, not, because 12-year-olds like to think things are impossible. It's kind of how they work. So, how do you know how to mend something? The real answer is you don't, because every mending job is different, so every mending job is kind of guesswork. It's like any repair work. It's never going to be exactly the way it was in whatever video and or book and or TV show is teaching you how to do it, and not even if you have someone who knows what they're doing on the other end of the phone or computer or however you contact your people. So I'm going to make a knot by bringing the ends together. I tend to do a little lick and stick, but that's up to you. Crisscross them over my middle finger, put my thumb on top of the crisscross and roll it up and off. That gives me a nice secure little knot. Now everything is a giant tangle, so before we get started, let's try to smooth that out. Now, again, along those historical sewing lines, I like to put a little beeswax on this because I've discovered it just makes everything not tangle quite as badly. Just one little pass. You can even now see it's not quite as bad as it was. Alright, so I start by flipping it inside out. Now, one of the reasons that I'm repairing this rather than, I don't know, we can make a stuffed cushion out of it or something, is because you can see all the splits are on the seam where this sleeve attaches. So none of the fabric has ripped, but the stitching, you can see, has come away. And that's okay, because that happens. I'm going to start with this bottom seam. So there's two seams that have come apart here. There's the sleeve where it was one long strip and they've sewed it into a circle, and that's come away just a little bit. And then there is, after that, they sewed the sleeve piece into the actual t-shirt around, and that is also coming apart in several places. In fact, I will probably go around and just stitch that whole thing down because it's all going to come apart on me at this point. And again, this is my kid's favorite shirt, or one of them. He has a green one too he likes. So I like to start at the end where stuff's still working. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to bury my knot by coming down, back up. Now, on something like this, I'm not worried about it raveling or about the ends kind of fraying and coming apart, but I am worried about sturdiness because this shirt gets a lot of wear. So I'm going to do a blanket or buttonhole stitch, which means I'm going to come back through and I'm going to come through the loop of thread. And that's going to give me that, it's really hard to see, but it's going to basically give me a line over the top of extra stitching that'll help keep everything together. So again, we're going to come get a little closer, see if I can see what I'm doing here. All right, so we're going to come forward through the fabric, and then I'm going to find that loop at the back and come up and through and pull it tight. And we're just going to keep doing that till we hit the end of this little line. So I'm going to finish this line and then we will cut back to the circular portion. Okay, so we've completed our seam here. So you can see that's all matched up nicely. So we've got a lot of this old stitching that I'm just going to take my little sturkey snips and snip away because it's not really doing anything anymore. So I'm going to match my edges up here, and because I have this nice long thread, I'm just going to start and I'm going to do that same blanket stitch all the way around, even in the places where it is currently sticking together. Now let me see if I've got a seam I'm meant to be matching here. So often this underarm seam will match up with a side seam. That's not the case on this shirt. Is that this side? No. Weird. I'm not sure how that is a thing, but okay. Neat. This is just a tube. Cool. All right. Here we go. So, what was going on up here? Because apparently this probably had a hole in it before I realized it, because my kid's terrible at telling me things. You can see I'm starting to fray here. So first I'm going to kind of do one of those blanket stitches just to attach the two pieces together. If you can kind of get this to dangle down, you can just go over the top of it. All right, so now that those are stuck together and I'm on the right side of the shirt, I'm going to reinforce where, I don't know if you guys can see, where you can see where my finger shows through there, that little worn fabric piece. So I have two choices. I can tuck that up and use the sturdy fabric underneath it, but what I'm going to do, as for the sake of showing you guys how to do it, is actually kind of weave a little bit of my thread in and out of it to reinforce it and let it be a little sturdier, have some extra oomph to it. So I'm going to blanket stitch one more time to get over there. All right, so this is where you'd actually use a darning egg if you owned one. I do not. It's on my things I should buy someday when I have money list. It's a long list. So I'm going to start by back stitching. So I'm going to take a stitch, I'm going to go back to where that stitch started and come up a little ahead of where it started. And I'm going to do that all the way around. It is okay to give yourself a little extra space. Do not go in too close to where you have that weak fabric. We want to take advantage of the solid fabric that is not got holes in it yet, and which was to weave in and out of these threads. Basically what I'm doing is using the thread on my needle to reinforce, that's not great, we'll go with it. All right, to reinforce the threads that have popped or come away or been worn away by time and or a washing machine that desperately needs replacing. Hashtag, I need a new washer. All right, so I'm going to work on this. I'm just weaving up and down. It's really hard to see because it's black on black. Hopefully my my pink fingers will help differentiate. So I'm just kind of going back and forth. I'm using that border I stitched as my stop point, so that's when I know that I am back into solid fabric that will hold up a little bit better. So I started in the middle, which is unfortunate but it's also going to give me a chance to kind of double back over this. And oof, there we go. The other thing to do is not pull too hard. I don't want this to kind of edge up too far. So yeah, I have a new tripod, so I had to lower it a little bit because I was holding things up. So you can see I've got my up and down zigzags, and you can already see that the fabric, if you can focus on it, is a lot sturdier. So secondly, just to make it stay that way, I'm now going to zigzag back and forth this way and weave myself some new fabric. So we're going to start right where I am. Same thing, this is not a precise art. This is literally making it up as, well, not making it up. This is using a knowledge of a task. This is classic darning. 2, make this piece of fabric cooperate with me. Alright, so I think that is pretty good, as good as it's gonna get here at any rate. I want to make sure I'm not leaving the loops on the back side too long, because the back side is actually the outside, and if I leave them too long, they're gonna get caught on stuff when my kid's trying to wear this. I need a lot of things, but elegant is not among them. I love my kid, I really do. I've been making fun of him this video. I shouldn't say that. He is a great kid. But he does put holes in his clothes, which I object to in principle. Alright, so there. We've got a nice little patch of stitching. Flip it inside out so you can see what it looks like on the other side, which is a great deal of nothing. So, now we're back onto working. Actually, we'll go back this way one more time just so we can end up back where we started. So this is still put together. I've got my couple little stitches I did there just to get over here. I'm going to weave my way back over. Slowly and carefully, because otherwise, ouch, I'm going to stab myself with the needle. Which is oodles of fun. Alright, here we go. So flip this around again. And I'm going to go back to matching up these 2 edges. So the inside of this long sleeve piece and the outside, it's called the sleeve side, which is the hole where the sleeve goes. So for some reason I'm this way, so we're just, after dropping my needle a whole bunch, there we go. So you can see how much thread that actually used. This was quite a long thread when we started, and it's not anymore. So we're actually going to switch directions here, and I'm going to go through over this way. So loop it around. And I'm going to do this all the way around the shirt because I want to reinforce so that the sleeve does not attempt to come off anymore, and I don't have to do this on another Monday. I'm doing this on a Monday because hashtag Monday Mending. Thank you, Evelyn Wood. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have blanket stitched my way all the way around. I'm debating whether I want to come up and do more up this way. I think I might save that for another Monday. So we're just going to have a look at this, make sure you can see now. No holes, yet more no holes. So I'm just going to finish off my thread. Same thing I did before, just going to go back through the same spot 2 or 3 times. And give it a snap. That is what I've done for my Monday mending this week.